maybe it's about time to get out of Afghanistan since that's now on Obama's watch. Now, it's emerged that among Romney's top advisors and potential cabinet appointees may be CFR President Richard Haass, who we heckled at the 2008 Bilderberg meeting right there in Chantilly. He attends, I think, every year at Bilderberg and has an important role to play at the Council on Foreign Relations, patentedly anti-American. He may become a cabinet member. He was previously a policy planning at the State Department official from 2001 to 2003 in the Bush administration. Further, former World Bank President Robert Zoellick may join the Romney cabinet. That's all according to Prospect, the American Prospect, the Romney foreign policy agenda. And so I've done my own research by studying the names and how they connect with the larger agenda. Who are these people who meet at Bilderberg secretly every year? And indeed, it pulls up stuff like this. Democrats and Bain. People raise the question, why is Bain Capital donating more to the Democratic Party than to the GOP if the nominee is Romney, who used to work for Bain? Well, obviously, they both represent finance capital. They both represent crony capitalism, Wall Street, the elite of the elite who are selling this country and the whole rest of the world down the drain easy. Let's make a comparison now between that mock video attacking Romney for being a serial killer of corporations with the kind of action that people like Henry Kravis of KKR do when they do a leverage buyout and rip and shred the company as one might hollow out a fruit, or as a vampire might hollow out the blood from his victim, or a vulture from Carrion. Let's play that clip now.
But Mitt Romney has a secret. As head of Bain Capital, he bought companies, carved them up, and got rid of what he couldn't use. If Mitt Romney really believes...
corporations are people, my friend.
Then Mitt Romney is a serial killer. He's Mitt the Ripper.
Henry Kravis and company have participated in 160 takeovers and borrowed a large part of $320 billion to do so. The private equity corporations make sweetheart deals with the banks to finance these takeovers. Then they pump and dump the companies they control, often resulting in lost jobs for workers, the destruction of communities that rely on the companies, and extreme profiteering for the private equity corporations. Kravis and KKR, like all the private equity giants, take over public companies using primarily borrowed money. To pay off this debt, they then sell the assets of the companies, fire thousands of workers, and radically cut benefits of the remaining employees. It is the same product, in the same building, with the same customers as before.
And so again, they've already rooted all your savings through this financial crisis. Now they're buying up pension funds and the rest of it. Both sides of this false spectrum are very predatory, and we have to start to recognize that. Now, we've talked about how much these elites hate humanity. That's going to come up in depth with Lord Monckton on the other side of this break. But first, we'll take you to the quote of the day from the Club of Rome's 1991 publication, The First Global Revolution. They said, in searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill. All these dangers are caused by human intervention, and thus the real enemy then is humanity itself. Humanity requires a common motivation, namely a common adversary in order to realize world government. So again, man is the enemy, world government is the answer. Now, today was the launch of PlanetInfowars.com. We urge you to go check out that website, sign up for it, and begin your own mini InfoWars network. Maybe a very large part of the InfoWars network. The point is, you could put up your own content. You could put stories up you think are important. You could create your own videos, your own newscasts, get friends together, network with people you want to know, possibly date people, get groups together that like to hunt, like to fish, like to do survival skills, prepping, you name it. Planet InfoWars will become what you make of it. The point is to get in there and start resistance using the tools we have now while we still have a relatively free internet, which we have pointed out time and again they are trying to clamp down upon. PlanetInfoWars.com launched today, and now is the time to take advantage of it. And don't forget to be a PrisonPlanet.tv subscriber too if you want to help out this broadcast financially. Help us support the platforms that allow all you great people to do your own work on sites like PlanetInfoWars.com. We'll be back after this with Lord Moncton. Stay tuned. I'm Aaron Dykes.
Have you been to InfoWarsShop.com lately? Express your inner patriot with these brand new InfoWars t-shirts. Say it loud with the InfoWars Bullhorn shirt, or educate the sheeple with the Bill of Rights shirt. Grope the public's mind with the TSA shirt. And with this shirt, you can let the dark side know of the Rebel Alliance's power. All available at InfoWarsShop.com.
PlanetInfoWars.com is in its beta phase. We're just launching it. And I want to invite all of you out there to be in on the ground level. It's waiting for you to breathe power into it. PlanetInfoWars.com. All who love liberty are welcome. All that serve tyranny will be defeated. It's now out in the open. World government is here. It's in our face. A corporate fascist system surveilling us. Google, Facebook, Twitter, all promote the New World Order. They attend Bilderberg. They've turned the internet into a giant illegal spying operation, with Google admitting that they're basically an NSA, CIA front. But despite all of that, their little propaganda stunts like Coney 2012 have been blowing up in their face because we have people power. Planet InfoWars is about people coming together, forming activist organizations, getting involved politically, hunting and fishing, gardening, dating. Whatever the case is, this is a place for people who love freedom. And that's why I have created PlanetInfoWars.com as a vehicle for you to meet and to talk and to write and to post information. This is your tool, your website. And I want to invite all the other alternative media to come in to PlanetInfoWars.com and to synergistically meet and turn loose your potential. For more than 6 years, I've talked on the air about creating a social network. But I was so busy with my radio show, the documentaries, all of it, that I never did it properly. We launched a small little plug-in social network. It got more than 40,000 members in just a few months and basically crashed. And then I never revisited the subject until the last year. And I went out to a public event, a UFC fight. Joe Rogan invited me to it in Austin. And 2 different couples came up to me and said, man, we wish you'd set up a social network again. Where did it go? And I said, oh, it was just some little free program. It couldn't handle all the traffic. And in both cases, at that same evening, they said, we met 4 different people, 2 couples, on your little plug-in site at InfoWars.com. And we now have children. And since then, it's happened a couple other times. So I realized a social network is important so people who love freedom can get together. That's what Liberty Lovers is going to be all about, a section we've created at PlanetInfoWars.com. Whether you live in a small town or a big city, you can reach out to people in your area so that we can win the future away from Obama and Mitt Romney and all these globalists that try to give us all these fake choices. And I give you this pledge. We are not going to spy on you and surveil you and sell your data to the New World Order. PlanetInfoWars.com is free. PlanetInfoWars.com is powered by you. We're going to have our articles up there. We'll have video feeds and stuff up there. But this is all about you getting together and organizing the resistance against the New World Order. Ron Paul's been great, but he himself has said this is simply a focal point for people that are already awake. Well, this is Ron Paul 2.0. This is Alex Jones 3.0. This is humanity 4.0 to the power of infinity. This is about taking action. This is about turning humanity loose. Connect with people who are awake and know what we're facing. Be active, organize, take action, go viral, create, contribute, resist, because resistance is victory. You are victory. And the rally point is PlanetInfoWars.com. Sick of the globalists, eugenicists, control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at INFOWARS.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. INFOWARS.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at INFOWARS.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
We are back from break on this InfoWars Nightly News, and we're excited now to be joined by Lord Christopher Monckton himself, very much on the cutting edge of fighting against the climate regime changers who want to take over our world, curb civilization, and really put us in our place. We're not going to let that happen, of course. Thank you for joining us, Lord Monckton.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here, and let's hope that we can, between us, convince the powers that be that backing the climate scare has been a failure, and they must get off it and think of something else to frighten us with.
Well, it was only a few years ago Al Gore and company were telling us the debate was over, this climate change, really new way of thinking was just inevitable and we should all submit. But they've had a number of setbacks at the past few meetings. They've really had their agenda stalled. But at the same time, we have the revival of Agenda 21 this year, Rio Plus 20 conference, 20 years after the first time the United Nations held a summit on how to bring about sustainable development. Let's get into that and how it ties into the larger climate change issues.
What has happened is they've lost the argument with the public on the climate. In fact, they've lost the scientific argument as well as the economic argument. And because they've lost it, they know they've got to find something else to justify the continued existence of the UN. See, the UN has become a very expensive body. It's a lot of money the nations pay towards it. It's increasingly wanting to have governing power. It's wanting to undermine the very concept of a sovereign, independent nation, because they want to have, effectively, global government. Now, they know if one talks of world government, this is something that will be very unpopular. So instead of calling it world government, they call it global governance. This is the new phrase for it, which somehow sounds nice and respectable and not too dangerous. But of course, what they're really after is total control. And the idea of the Rio Plus 20 conference is to suggest that the nations of the West have been raping the planet with their insatiable demands for natural resources, land to build houses and roads and airports on, and that now humans must be reduced, according to one of the more extremist papers put forward for this conference, by 5 billion of our present, I think it's 6 billion of our present 7 billion must be done away with, and it's down to be having not more than 1 billion humans on the planet. Really extreme stuff on the fringes of this. Now, the draft document, the draft conclusions of the conferences, it's already been decided roughly what the conclusions are going to be. I've seen that document, and compared with some of the more extreme climate documents I've seen from these conferences, it's pretty milk and water so far, which means that the real draft hasn't, in fact, yet been made available. But what I think they're going to try to do is to follow a route which the EU knows well, where you have annual incremental conferences, as they've done with the climate, with agreements at the end of each conference, because the negotiators don't want to go home and say we haven't even signed an agreement. And each of these agreements gradually takes on the force of what your constitution called customary international law. And once that happens, even if they aren't signed into law by your Senate as a treaty, which has to vote for treaties by a 2/3 majority, they can still become the law of the land if the Supreme Court, which is very much that way inclined at the moment, were to say that they were. And that's how they're going to circumvent the constitutional requirement that a treaty has to be ratified by 2/3 of the Senate. And they're going to do roughly what was done to us as we lost our powers in Britain to the EU, with these endless succession of treaties, each of which doesn't seem to change things all that much